Right now it's time for reading from the Bible, and this is taken from the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verses 20 to 23 from the New International Version of the Bible. It says, "But Christ has indeed been raised from the dead, the firstfruits of those who have fallen asleep. For since death came through a man, the resurrection of the dead comes also through a man. For as in Adam all die, so in Christ all will be made alive. But each in his own turn, Christ the firstfruits, then when he comes, those who belong to him." And that's 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verses 20 to 23 from the New International Version of the Bible. We've just finished celebrating Passover, and we're heading towards Pentecost or Pesach. And I've got to say that there's a real connection here with harvests. So the first harvest that they had was the barley harvest. And back in Leviticus chapter 23, it says that they're to offer up a first fruit offering. So to take a sheaf of barley, they're to wave it up. The priest waves it before the Lord, and that is the first fruit harvest. But also there's something else with it. They have to sacrifice a yearly lamb as a burnt offering. Now that sounds a lot like Passover. They sacrificed a lamb there. The blood was put on the doorpost and the lintel of the door, which was their redemption. That saved them from the plague. And also you have the lamb being sacrificed here at the first harvest of the year, of the spring harvest. So that's the barley harvest. Now, what has that got to do with Jesus? Well, it's saying in 1 Corinthians chapter 5 that Jesus is like our first fruit. Now, in that first harvest, in the barley harvest, for all other harvests to be acceptable before God, they had to offer up that sheaf and sacrifice that lamb. And so that puts in a type, it puts in a picture for us that we can all see that he is representative of Jesus. So just as much as Jesus was lifted up like that sheaf of barley, he went on the cross and he died like that lamb, his blood was shed, so too he was the first to be resurrected from the dead. And so too we will be, but first he had to be resurrected so we can, and that's the hope that we have in him. So now that that has happened, it's always after the first Sabbath, after Passover, that is when they offer the sheaf of barley. Then that is heading towards the wheat harvest, which is Pentecost, and Pentecost is just 50 days later, the feast of Shavout. So that is what it all means. Jesus is the first fruit. He is the one who was offered up, and so too we will take after the likeness of him when he returns. We too shall be raised up, and that is the principle of the first fruit. Because he is acceptable, we also have been accepted. What a wonderful message there is in that. Well, right